What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin with this month's book review, which the cover and the back cover both fell off this book. That's the problem when you buy old books, man. You gotta be careful of them because they fall apart, dude. And the reason why I like that's the problem when you read older books too. Is like, oh, you have to buy them used, and then it's like, yeah, they fall apart. And it wasn't in that bad condition when I bought it, but whatever. So today I'm reviewing the third Thomas Covenant book in the Dark Fantasy series by Stephen R. Donaldson, which was published by, was it Ballantine or Del Rey? Del Rey Fantasy. So this book series is basically in the 70s. A lot of American fantasy authors were like, let's do our own version of Lord of the Rings. And some of the most popular ones was the Shannara Chronicles, the Thomas Covenant Chronicles, and trying to think of what other was the Belgraph Saga, whatever the fuck those books were called. That came out in the 80s, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so like this was one of those series, right, where it's like, oh, okay, let's do our own version of Lord of the Rings, which this series is famous because you have, it's kind of it's like an isekai, and you also have like the Stephen King aspect where it's like, oh, an author is the main character, which I did reviews for the previous first two books, by the way, if you want to check those out, which there's like 6 books in this series. So the series is about our main character, Thomas Covenant, whose life gets ruined when he gets leprosy. He's a famous author. One of his books became a movie. But despite he had major success as an author, he's an outcast in society because he gets leprosy. Loses his wife, loses his kid, is an outcast in his own town. So one day, he meets this old man, and he gets teleported to this magical fantasy world where he's mistaken for this reincarnation of a legendary hero called Beric Halfhand. And he must do battle with the Dark Lord of this series, was called Lord Fowl. So, in the second book, he meets his like middle-aged daughter, who he tries to bang. No, well, it's more like she's in love with him, and he tries to scare her off by struggle snuggling her like he did her mother, because she was born from you know what, which I said in my first. That's one of the things I like about this series, where it's like, oh, it's like it kind of has a berserk aspect. In this series, like the dark fantasy, because the world itself, it doesn't come off very dark fantasy. What the dark fantasy elements is from like our main character, dude. So like last time he was there, like shit was bad. Like the staff of law, which is this magical like weapon, gets lost, and his daughter gets killed. And before she dies, she broke the law of death, which now allows the bad guys to resurrect people, and make them their slaves, or to possess their bodies, right? So our main character, and every time he comes back to our world, like like decades will pass in the fantasy world, the earth. So the book starts off with him like grief stricken, from the death of his daughter. From the fantasy world, which he doesn't even think is real. That's why he has the nickname as the Unbeliever, because he doesn't believe that the fantasy world is real, right? So he comes back. He gets shit goes south for him in the town. They want to evict him because he went out to fucking pub or whatever bar where a singer was playing. They want to evict him. Like, he starts to get suppressed, starts to starve himself. He gets lonely and tries to go to like a prayer tent church or whatever, like one of those like church like tent churches where they promise to heal people, and they recognize who he is and kick him out, almost break his fucking arm, dude. And he's starving to death. After that he decides, oh, I'm gonna start eating again. Only when he tries to eat, there's a fucking razor in his food from the food that he gets delivered to him from the groceries, which is like, holy fuck. Like, for people, like, that was, I read that and I'm like, that's fucking wild, because that's so easy to prove. That would be so easy to prove who did it, because it's like, but whatever, dude. Sorry, I'm killing people in like Crimson Desert. Oh my god, this game's not bad. It's just like people forget. Okay, yeah, it's a single player MMO, dude. Like, if that doesn't sound good to you, don't buy the game. But people that thought, oh, it's going to be like the fucking Dragon's Dogma, which, oh, I don't know, man. But yeah, back to this book review. So, what ends up happening is that he goes into the woods. I read this book. This book took me over a month to read because it's like, it was so fucking. I don't know if it's like the book was bad or I just like. I've been playing too much video games lately and like watching TV shows, so it's like, this is like a low priority. But I don't know, man. So like, what ends up happening is he's lost in the woods. I think he's contemplating suicide. I don't fucking remember. And he finds this little girl, in the woods, and who's about to get attacked by a rattlesnake, only for him to get summoned to the land again by Moram, who is now the current High Lord, who's like 50, who should be like, I can't remember how old he's supposed to be, but he's like supposed to be he's still relatively young. He's like in his 50s, but everybody else is like, old as fuck, because like when you're a mage in the fantasy world, like aging slows down for you. So like even like the main general guy is like 70 years old. Like, what's his name? Banner's still alive. He's old as fuck now. He gets they summon him, but only because because there's a girl in danger. He asks, hey, please, like, let me go save the girl, and then maybe I'll come back to fucking save your world again. Which they're about to be at siege by one of the fucking Raver Giants, dude. Which the Raver Giants is like, the Ravers are basically like spirits of Lord Fowl's like minions who are possessing people, and they possess the Giants. Which, when you find out what happened to the Giants, dude, holy fuck, dude. Because like, Thomas Covenant's best friend is Saltheart Foam Follower, who is a giant, and the Giants are like, I think they're supposed to be allegory for something. I'm not gonna say what, but you know how like, people say like, oh, the dwarves are allegory for the Jews. Here, you can make an argument for the Giants for that, but whatever. I'm not gonna talk about that, but like, I don't know. Like I said, it's been a couple years since I read book 1 and 2, so it's like I would have to go back and read those, which I'm not going to. But yeah, so like, he goes and saves the girl, but he's so fucked up, and she ends up getting bit by a snake, which he he treats her, but like because he's accidentally swallowed some of the venom, and he had like a cut in his fucking lip from when he bit on the razor blade in the food. He's basically dying, but gets teleported to the world, fantasy world again, but this time by like Saltheart Foamfaller and Triok, who was the original fiance of Lana, the girl who he, you know what he did. Um, uh, which are they summon him back to help save the land because shit's fucking dire, dude. They have like the bad guys have fucking mutant fucking chaos hordes like from 4Hammer 40k as an army going around killing, raving the world, dude. And it's up to uh, uh, Thomas Covenant to learn how to use the fucking magic ring, his white gold ring, which is magic in the fantasy world, so he can finally defeat Lord Fowl and save the world. So I kind of like the book because it's about basically a combination of two towers, where you have Lord Moram at Revelstone trying to defeat, like they're at siege with an army, and you have this you have the mages having to deal with the siege of Revelstone from like one of the fucking ravers who's armed with the Ill-Earth Stone. And so you have like these battles between like regular armies, and then like you have the magic, and then like the fucking raver dude starts using like psychological warfare. So that shit was fucking cool. There's like and then you have the also like the like the in the third book, like the journey into Mordor. Like a lot of dark fantasy book series has that. Like Lord of the Rings ripoffs have that. You have that with Thomas Covenant and Saltheart Foamfaller. But like instead of it's the dark land or whatever is on like a barren wasteland. It's that, but it's also underground, dude. So it's like, oh, they have to go through under these tunnels, have to go through lava and all that shit. So like, oh, okay, I thought that was fucking cool. Kind of a neat twist in the from the fucking it's like a neat twist on the what the fuck would you call, what the fuck is that called, formula from the Lord of the Rings formula, which, oh my god, there's some like they introduced this race of fucking like mud clay people, and like, dude, they were so pitiable, man. They were like basically like Lord Fowl created this race of like mud people, dude, or whatever the fuck, that are like, and that were basically useless and will be like destroyed if they ever go out in the sun. So like they're just living underground in fear, waiting for one day for like the Thomas Covenant to show up to kill the fucking Dark Lord or whatever. And I just killed myself. Fuck. Oh, god damn it. Fucking. That's why you're not supposed to do two things at once. So I'll just go into my likes and dislikes. Thomas Covenant is still an unlikable main protagonist, but I thought there were some really cool, like every whenever you got to switch protagonists, like whenever the story which switched to the perspective of different characters, like Moram or Triok, or I think even Saltheart Foamfaller at one point. That's when the book got really fucking good. It's only like the Thomas Covenant parts where it was like, oh my god, this is so boring. And I thought it was interesting, like, because usually when Thomas Covenant goes to the fantasy world, they heal him with hurt loam, so he doesn't have leprosy anymore. This time around, there was like because of the one of the things the bad guys do is they make the world have like never ending winter, which is like, oh man, we've seen that in fucking the other Lord of the Rings inspired fantasy series, fucking Flo Navarre Tapestry, right? Where the bad guys did that. They did that here. Because of that, there's no like hurt loam. So like, oh my god. So he has to deal with having to deal with his leprosy in the land, which is okay. That's like the first time they ever done that. I did think it was kind of shitty. Like, oh my god, like we're in the third book and he still doesn't know how to use the white gold ring. Only for him like halfway to get an idea how to use it, and then when it's time to actually fight the fucking final battle between him and Lord Fowl, then he actually knows how to use it, which is kind of convenient, but whatever. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't like I like the book. It is a little slow at times, but after like 100 pages in, or I think it was a little bit more, like, which the book is 480 pages, by the way, not including the glossary. So the main book is like 480 pages. Around like 100 or something pages in, I would say like maybe 150. That's when you start getting the battles, you get the journeys and stuff. They introduce some cool monsters. Like, okay, that shit was fucking good. That's when because these people are supposed to be like peaceable, like hippies or whatever. They're only supposed to fight in self defense. Because of how dire everything is, how fucking shitty everything is. That's when they start getting more bloodthirsty, dude. In this book, especially like Saltheart Foamfaller, dude. Like, holy fuck. Especially when you find out what happened to the giants. That because like ravers possess the bodies of giants, dude. They couldn't. The giant race decided to commit suicide, basically. Like, holy fuck, dude. That was fucking dark. Which there's a scene where, like, Saltheart Foamfaller had a chance to fight one of the, to fight a giant to avenge his people, but chooses not to because, like, he decides to help Thomas Covenant and says, like, oh, I thought that was cool. And the final battle between, like, Lord Fowl and the Thomas Covenant, I thought was really cool, especially like the whole twist, like where it's like like they gave him like Lord Fowl some personality, actually, like, and there's like the whole thing where like basically all the ghosts of like all the lords like are begging Thomas Covenant to kill Lord Fowl, but he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that because every time we try to kill him, it doesn't fucking work. So let's try something else." And I thought, okay, that was kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, and I like that like Thomas Covenant kind of like he kind of had this like character arc that paid off where he's not where it's like, oh, he kind of learned from his mistakes, dude, like, and kind of because like he kind of becomes more like when people started like losing faith in the oath of peace and started abandoning it, he kind of it wasn't until in the third book, like this book, where he's like, no, where he starts embracing it. It's like, oh, okay. And though I kind of was wondering, like, what the fuck is up with him? Like, he still doesn't believe none of this shit is real. What's up with that? And like the whole point was like, oh, because he doesn't believe this shit is real, that makes it so like he can actually believe that he can defeat like the Lord Fowl. So it's like, oh, okay, so it actually does pay like there's actually is a payoff to that, which you find out who the fucking old man was that he talked to in the first book, right at the beginning of the first book, and like the entire time I thought it was supposed to be like Kevin Landwaste, not Kevin Landwaste, one of the old lords from the fucking from the backstory or whatever, right? Old lords of lore. It turns out it was their fucking god, dude. Like, what the fuck? That was crazy. So yeah. So I would I think this series is good, worth reading, but like holy fuck, this book was slow at times, dude. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. There's still three more books in the series, which is like, I don't know when. I think I'm gonna take a break, dude, like I usually do. Oh my god, because I don't have I have book 4 and 6, but I don't have book 5. So I gotta go hit up the thrift stores and see if I can get book 5, dude. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna review. What my next book is gonna be for next month. I think I just might want to take a break and read some graphic novels and comics instead, because it's been a while, and I kind of want to read some Spider Man. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, so my next book review is going to be next month. I haven't decided what I'm gonna review, because I was going to review like Black Tongue Thief, because it's by this author who's apparently written like a Berserk rip-off series, which I kind of want to read, or at least check out the first book. But I kind of want to check out this. I'm kind of in the mood for sci-fi, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Peace.